Hey guys, it's Sam, and today I'm going to talk about some places that I would like to travel to. So I was asking for Vlogmas video ideas from people on like Twitter and Instagram, and someone asked for places I would like to visit. So I wanted to focus specifically, I think all of these are North America. So I have a ton of places I want to travel to internationally. That would be just an exhaustive list because I basically want to go everywhere in the world. So I didn't really want to do like a open to international type travel, but I have some very specific locations I'd like to travel to within the United States and within North America. So I want to talk about some of those. And these are places that I've recently looked into because I want to start doing some more solo travel. So these are some places I'd like to go to. A couple of them, like the first couple on the list, are ones for just like long weekends and stuff. And then there's some other ones that I want to make more expansive trips. But I definitely want to do some solo traveling. I don't know if that's going to happen in 2019. I would like it to. One of my goals is to do at least one weekend solo trip in 2019 in the United States, but these are some places that I'm excited to visit in the United States that I will hope to do in the next, I'm gonna say 3 years. Not all of them, but at least a few of these. So the first one is Greenville, South Carolina. This I found on a good for solo travel, good for a weekend, not super expensive kind of list. So the reason I want to go here is because the weather is like fairly nice. Like I said, it's fairly inexpensive to travel to, and it's a really good like touristy location, but not overly touristy because I don't really like tourist spots, but it's good for like nature and quaintness and stuff. There's a whole 19-mile trail that you can bike, walk, run, whatever, and it connects a lot of the locations and attractions and stuff as far as like hiking and nature. There's a lot of nature stuff going on, and that's called the Swamp Rabbit Trail. So I want to go on that, and then there's a lot of like markets, and there's like I said, hiking areas. I think there's some like waterfalls and just like good places for photos and stuff like that. And so a good place to take like a nice like long weekend, 4-day kind of trip to that is in a decent location and like not super overwhelming, not all this like history museums, all this craziness. Like it's just very chill, going hiking for like a few days, which is something that I really want to do. Another kind of weekend trip is Providence, Rhode Island. Now I haven't really been anywhere in the Northeast, like the proper Northeast of the United States besides Boston, which I loved and I would like to go back, but I've been to Boston a few times now, not for very long trips, something I would like to take a longer trip to. Anyway, Boston's not on this list right now. Providence, Rhode Island. I want to go to Providence in the fall sometime because I want to experience the like proper like Northeast type fall foliage, all that stuff. And Providence is another place that's fairly easy to travel to, good for a long weekend. There's apparently some good food places popping up in Rhode Island, which is also just a big motivator for me. I really center my travel around food and eating. It's a big part of my life with traveling. And again, it's just somewhere that looks very beautiful, very kind of quaint, good for a solo trip, good for photos, all that kind of stuff. It has a lot of history as well. Speaking of history, now we're getting to the longer trips that I'd like to take. And actually, Amanda and I have talked about taking this trip, Amanda being my best friend that you guys have seen in videos. We've talked about taking this trip actually together and going in the fall sometime, probably maybe fall 2019, but I don't know if that would happen. And that is New Orleans, Louisiana. So you might be like, don't you want to go for Mardi Gras? No, I don't. I don't want to go for any of that craziness. I want to go for the history and I want to go for the food. I am down for the food. I would like to go for like a solid week. I don't know if that would happen, but I want to do like the food and I want to go in the fall because I want to, even though I'm always scared of spoopiness, I want to take a New Orleans like during the day guided ghost tour. During the day. Not being scared. And maybe like some of the voodoo stuff. But again, like, I don't know. I'm a little nervous and all that. But I just want to be like immersed in that like atmosphere and the feeling of it. And I want to go in the fall. It'd probably be a little bit better with weather, although I guess you have like hurricane season to contend with. But I want to go mostly for the food. I want to eat a ton of beignets and Creole and just like live my best life and go to like jazz clubs and like dueling piano bars and not deal with any of the Mardi Gras like craziness. Absolutely not. Then kind of a combination of food and nature is Portland, Oregon. So I've always wanted to go to the Pacific Northwest. I have another location from the Pacific Northwest that I want to go to. I've always been very drawn there and maybe even thinking that I wouldn't mind living there, but it's very expensive out there obviously, and I've never been. So Portland and the Pacific Northwest are places that are just like really big on food. I think they have a lot of like food trucks and stuff. So definitely the food experiences. There's also a lot of like vegan and vegetarian food out there, so really trying that kind of stuff. And then there's a lot of like hiking in national parks and stuff and like waterfalls, a lot of parks with waterfalls. So I kind of want to combine the like hiking, nature, being in forests, being surrounded by trees. My favorite, you'll notice with some of these locations that my favorite nature setting is actually forest. I'm not like a big beach person. I like them just fine, but I'm not like a beach island Caribbean person. I am a I want to be surrounded by greenery, forest, that kind of contrast of colors type person. That's where I feel most at ease. So that's why I think Portland would be good for me. On that same kind of note is Seattle, Washington. Again, Pacific Northwest, a lot of food, big foodie area, a lot of like vegan food and vegetarian food, and I have friends that live out there, really cool music scene, like just something I've always wanted to experience, but again, it has to be a longer trip because of how long that flight would be. Same thing with Portland, because I would be going coast to coast, and that's just crazy, and I want to make it worth it, so it'd be like a week-long trip, possibly week and a half kind of thing, but I want to experience all of the fun of Seattle because I just feel like it's such a wonderful location. Then we have technically an international location, but this one is still within North America, and that is Quebec, Canada. I really think this would be an amazing trip. I don't really have anyone right now in my life that would go with me, so I don't know when this would happen, and I don't think I'd want to take this trip international myself, although I do want to travel internationally by myself at some point, so maybe doing Canada by myself would be a smart choice as a baby step after I've done a couple solo trips here in the United States. But I think this would be an amazing trip. It's a beautiful location. I really want to go to Canada, and I think going to Quebec would be just a nice blend of like the French culture with the Canadian culture and all of that. So my first trip up to Canada, I would like to be Quebec, but we will see. Right now I have no one that would like to go with me. And lastly, I want to drop in kind of a bonus one. This is an international location, but it's one that I have pinned so many things about and is like my dream international vacation, and that is the Black Forest in Germany. I'm showing you a couple of photos now of it, but this is such my aesthetic because it looks like a fairy tale woods. I think it's what a lot of fairy tale woods are based on, and it's somewhere that I deeply want to be and just like experience, and there's a lot of really awesome like culture around it. There's a lot of like villages apparently throughout the forest, and it combines the hiking, and then there's like German food and fairy tales and whimsy and magic and everything. So I really want to go there during like peak beautiful weather season there, and I think that would be an amazing trip. Also, bonus side note, I am currently planning a trip to the UK for Christmas 2020, just to let you know. But I'll talk about that if I ever talk about more international travel. I just want to talk about the Black Forest for like a little bonus tidbit. So yeah, that is it for some of the places that I want to visit, mostly in North America, and hopefully within the next few years. Comment below and let me know some places that you would like to travel within your own country, or let me know if you visited any of these places or live in any of these places and have tidbits for me, or have traveled solo and have any tidbits for me, or resources for me, or anything like that. Let me know about travel. Travel is one of my like goals for the next few years and things that I want to do, and I think it's going to be a really great way to like discover things about myself and about just the world, and it's just something I want to do and something I'm going to prioritize in my life because I really haven't in recent years at all. So that's something I would really like to do in the future. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.